Now, all these are unchecked type of exceptions. That means what? It is going to check at the compile time or runtime. It is going to check at the compile time or runtime. Compile time. Pakana. Super. This is what? Come forward.
We are not using try block here also.
Huh? Not using try block.
Try and catch block, we are not using try and catch.
Okay.
So at the first case only, it will like interruption occurs on the like automatic exception.
See, did I start the checked exception? Did I start the checked exception? Yesterday, what I have covered? Only unchecked, right? Finally unchecked. I did not start the checked. Now observe here, all these are unchecked. That means compilation success proper, but at the runtime. But at the runtime, exception. At the runtime. I'm getting compilation is success. Now, if I keep this in try catch block, flow will be normal. Now, exception at what? Here, at line number 6. For this statement, what is that? Number format exception. If I keep try catch for this, here, null pointer exception. Likewise. Now observe, whatever we have seen this, it is the unchecked type of exceptions. Unchecked. That means it is going to check at the runtime, not at the compile time. Now, there is a class data for name. You'll come to know in object class, reflection API. What is this? Class dot for name. But in class dot for name, what they are doing, we are loading the class explicitly. But in class dot for name, we'll be loading the class explicitly. If that class is not found, we'll get what? Class not found exception. But in class dot for name, we'll be loading class explicitly. Now, this class dot for name comes under checked type of exception. Class not found exception comes under checked type of exception. Carefully observe here what I'm trying to do. Only one statement I have, class dot for name. This is what? Checked type of exception. This statement will be causing what? Checked type of exception. This statement, if something goes wrong, if the class is not available, if the class is not able to load, this statement will be producing what? Class not found exception. That is what? Checked type of exception. Checked type of exceptions will be checking at the compile time itself. Now, in order to compile this successfully, we need to handle this exception. That means I need to keep try catch or throws. try catch, or I need to keep the main method. I need to declare the main method as throws. Throws class not one exception. Otherwise, at the compile time itself, we'll be getting the exception. Okay. Unreported exception, class not found exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. At the compile time itself, that means what? This statement is likely to be causing what? This statement is likely to be causing what? Class not found exception. Class not found exception. Now, we need to write the handling solution. Okay. We need to write the handling solution. What is that handling solution? Try catch need to develop, otherwise throws. Otherwise, the caller, in which method the statement is there in the main method. That method should be declared as throws. Throws class not found exception. So now what I do? I'm keeping this class dot for name inside the try block. Then following, I'm developing the matching catch block, that is class not found exception. Now compilation will be success. Why? Because we are keeping this statement inside the try block. Compiler checks initially at the compile time itself. If something goes wrong, what happens? It is raising what? Class not found exception. Class not found exception is what? Checked type of exception. Checked type of exception will be checking at the compile time itself. It is going to inform to the user. So there is a checked type of exception causing statement inside the main method. You should use the try catch, or you should declare the main method as throws. Either one you should do. Again, here, just to check the syntax. Clone. Why do we need the clone method? Basically, we'll be using the clone method to make the object duplicate object. That means what? Clone of the original object. Clone of the original object. Again, this one you'll come to know in reflection API object class. To make the copy of an exact, existing original object. To make an exact copy of existing original object. To make an exact copy of original object, we'll be using the clone. Now, this clone method also, this statement will be causing what? Clone not supported exception. That is the checked type of exception. That clone object. Okay, we are making the object duplicate in the sense already one object is there existing. Existing object I'm copying, making another object. Everything will be same. Properties, everything. Everything will be same. We'll come to know. Now, clone not supported also is the checked type of exception causing statement that should be kept within the try catch, or this caller. What is this caller? Test method should be declared as throws. Now I'm going forward, try catch. Now it is fine. See here, let me try it without try catch. Thank you. Unreported exception, clone not supported exception. Now let me comment this, and I'm keeping clones inside the try catch. Now it's fine. Onto the M4. Again, this is the concept of file handling, file reader. Okay. Now this statement will be causing what IO exception if the whatever the file I'm trying to load, whatever the file I'm trying to read, if that file is not available, that will be causing what IO exception. That IO exception is the checked type of exception. So that is why this statement must be under try catch. Otherwise, you get the error at the compile time itself. Unreported exception, file not found exception. So that is why I'm keeping within the try catch. If you want to use the file reader, first you need to import the IO exception. Okay, here actually we are using what here exception class IO exception. Okay, we are using what IO exception as well as file reader. Both you should import. Both are available in IO packages. You can just go for data star. Otherwise, it is the better option to import one by one. Okay, whichever you need, that one you can import. Now it is okay. Now driver manager dot get connection. It is the concept of what? JDBC. JDBC API. Okay? JDBC API. To make the connection to the database, to establish the connection to the database, we are using this driver manager dot get connection. Now, this statement also will be causing what? Checked type of exception. What is that exception? SQL exception. SQL exception is the checked type of exception. That is why I'm keeping within the try catch. Now this one. M6. Again, this is the concept of threads, multi-threads. Threaded artistry. Okay, this statement will be causing the interrupted exception. Interrupted exception. Interrupted exception is the checked type of exception. Interrupted exception is the checked type of exception. That is why I'm keeping within the try catch. Now this time. Here it is the Java JDK 8 feature, means date. So this one you'll come to know while I'm covering the features of JDK 8. Okay. So as of now, parse method. Parse method will be causing what? This statement will be causing what? Parse exception. Parse exception. This is the checked type of exception. That is why I'm keeping within the try catch. Now it is not the final list of checked type of exception. If you want to know what are all the checked type of exceptions, that too, like whatever commonly used. Mm. See, observe here. I'll show this one also. Here, in the threads, sleep, join, wait. All these things will be causing what? Interpret exception. Check it. Now, here, date number will be causing parse exception. Now, observe here. List of common checked exceptions in Java. That is defined in java.lang package. This much. That is defined in IO package. This much. Then that is in java.net package. This much. That is in SQL package. This much. Right? So many things we have. In the unchecked, we have also so many things. So these are all the very commonly used. Okay, not final list. Commonly used. So many checked and unchecked we have. Come to the absence.
So can we define an exception on our own?
What?
Can we define an exception on our own?
Yes, we can. That will see.
What if it is already existing?
If it doesn't exist, now we'll be creating our own. If it is existing, we'll use the make use of the existing. No.
How will we come to know so that exception is there? We need to learn how to all the exceptions around.
Here, for example, assume that you need to create an exception. What is the exception on your own? User will be entering something. Okay, what is that? He is entering something like um, you can write exception class for anything. Anything you can write the exception class on your own. For example, in the name field, he'll be entering some characters, special characters. Okay, in the name field. In the name field, assume that he's entering some special character. Now, if that is the case, you write one exception class. Special character not allowed exception. Like that. Okay. If that is the case, you will raise what? Special character not allowed exception. Then flow will be normal. Just to give you an example, okay? It should not be like exactly as it is. Just to give you an example, you'll see that how to develop our own exception class. Now observe, I'm not keeping try catch here. Instead, I'm going for throws. I'm not using what? Try catch. I'm going for throws. Either one you can use. Either one you can use. Either try catch or throws. Concentrate more here. Compilation is proper. Better run. Compilation proper. If you run, what happens? Again, you'll get then class not found exception. Red or run?
These throws keyword only used for checked exceptions,
Yes.
not for unchecked.
You can use for unchecked, but there is no use. Observe here. If I compare this, what happens? Huh? See here, I'm calling what test method. Okay.
So class not found.
What?
Class not found.
Class not found.
Exception, sir.
Here,
Yes, sir.
here compile time at the compile time or runtime? At the
Sir,
compile
runtime.
runtime, huh?
Compile time.
See, class dot for name is the type of exception. What is the type of exception? Check the type of exception. Causing statement. Class dot for name is the statement which is causing check the type of exception. Check the type of exception will be checking at the compile time. Now, if I want to skip if I want to make sure that compilation is success, I should keep this statement in the try catch, or I should make the test method throws. Whichever the method is having that statement, I should declare that method as throws. Both I'm not doing here. Unreported exception, class not found at line number 10. Okay, fine. What I'll do, earlier I was going for what try catch. Now let me go for throws. Throws what? Class not found exception. Okay, fine. The test method, compiler will be asking, okay, test method, in your body, there is a statement which is causing what? Check the type of exception. Where is the handling mechanism? Okay. Test method is telling that, okay, I have one statement which is causing the check the type of exception. Now I'm not going to handle it by using try catch. Simply I'll be throwing that class not found exception. I don't want to handle it. Okay. I don't want this responsibility. I'll simply throw this exception, class not found exception. Now compiler will come to main method. In your body, there is a statement which is calling the test method that is throwing what? Class not found exception. Now, whether you want to handle it or not, you must handle. Okay. So here, if the main method says, observe here, in this case, at line number what, we'll get error. At line number 5 now, test method, correct. Main method, in your body, there is a statement which is causing what? Check the type of exception. Now this test method did not handle that exception, simply throw it, class not found exception. Now it is your responsibility to handle it or throw the exception. Now main method says, no, I don't also take that responsibility. I will be also throwing that exception. What is the responsibility of JVM? Now it is the responsibility of JVM. JVM doesn't have the try catch mechanism. At the end, if something goes wrong, JVM also it is not handling exception, right? But compilation success here. To skip the compilation, just all the methods are throwing the exception. I'm not going to handle, I'm not going to handle. Compilation is proper. Not so. Here what happens? Here what happens? I'm keeping this statement within the try catch. Okay, test method is going to handle. Nobody has to worry about this. I will take care of this. I will handle this. So it is handling that exception. Okay, nobody has to worry. It is not throwing the exception. It is what it is doing. It is handling the exception itself. Now I don't need to keep the throws in the test and also in the main. Why? Because exception is handling here itself. No, nobody is throwing the exception. Fine. Now assume that no, it is not going to handle. It is telling what? Oops. That's not good exception. Okay. Now compiler will come to main method. Main method, for main method it will ask. Test method is throwing the class not found exception. It is your responsibility to handle or throw. Okay. Entry. So here test method, sorry, main method, what it does, it will handle. Okay. Here test method calling is there. Test method calling is there. Here the exception that is raised thrown by test method but handled by main method. It is not throwing, it is handling. No issues. Now what happens? First, I'll be getting the compilation error at line number 14. Line number 14. Info. Okay, fine. Test 2 is telling that I just throw the exception. I don't want to handle it. Now it is the responsibility of test 1. In the test 1, we have the calling to test 2. This one should keep the try catch or it should keep the throws. Now we'll ask line number 10. Now it is also throwing. Okay, now it is the responsibility of main at line number 5. Now it is also telling that I am also not going to handle it. It is the now responsibility of JVM. JVM also is not handling. There won't be any inbuilt handling mechanism. So JVM is going to throw the exception. Why all these circles? To just skip the compilation error. Okay. Here happens. Any compile time error? Any compile time error? There is no compile time error. Why? Because it is not the checked type of exception causing statement. It is the unchecked type of exception causing statement. Compilation is success, no issues at all. Still, if you want, you can go for what? Throws arithmetic exception. But that is not necessary. But syntactically, no issues. You can keep. But it won't ask like you should keep here also and you should keep here also. No, it won't ask. Why? Because it is not the checked type. Right? Here, here totally three statements are there. One is causing what? Class non-found exception. Another one is causing what? SQL exception. One more is causing what? Interrupted exception. Now, if I want to keep the throats, I should go for one by one. What is that? All three. Class non-found, SQL, interrupted. Instead of that, straight away I'll go to exception. Under the exception only, all these checked type of exception will come. So straight away I'll go to exception.
It doesn't show if there is a single exception.
Sorry, what?
If there are three different exceptions there, if in case if we have only single exception, instead of mentioning the name of the exception, we can keep the exception class itself in the other program.
Here in the other program or this program?
In a different program, even there is single exception.
Single exception. Okay, yeah, you can go for exception. No issues. If there is a single exception, not like this, straight away you can go for exception. No issues at all. But here, what happens? You don't go for exception. What happens? Observe carefully. Suppose class not found exception. Yeah, only class not found. What about other these two statements? Right? And so on. So totally three errors we are getting at line number 11, 16, 17. So here 16 and 17. Okay, proper. See, this one is okay, fine. It is throwing the class not found exception. But what about these two? We should keep what? SQL exception, and also we should keep what? Interrupted exception. Why to take that much of? Simply we go for right exception. Under exception only all these class will come. Wherever required, calling statement is there under those exception. Fine. You can go also individually. Here also you should either two options. You should go for exception or individual. Here also two options. Either you can go for what? Exception or individual. And also one more option is there. You can go for throwable. Throwable. Right or wrong? Throwable. Throwable is super to exception and error. Right or wrong? That is why you can go for throwable. Now, if I use this mechanism, try catch. these three statements. For these three statements, I'm developing the corresponding catch blocks. Okay. First approach I'm using. What is that to handling the exception, causing catch block. Second approach is to keep the throws. Now, if you are going for individual, you should go for 3 catch blocks. Then only it is fine. You miss one catch block, no. You miss one catch block, what happens? Found exception, class not found exception. That is why I'm using for all. It's fine. Why to take that much risk? Straight away I can go for exception. Catch, straight away I'll go for exception. Exception only, all this will come. Any type of exception, check the type of exception, it can handle. We don't get any compilation error. Here what I'm trying to do, yeah. Test 2, I'm keeping throws. Individually I'm going. Class not found, SQL exception, interpret exception. Where calling is there, test 2. Here calling is there in the test 1. There I'm handling. There I'm handling. I'm going for individual. Then here I don't need to keep try catch or throws. Why? Because here only it is handling, no. This one simply throwed. But this one got handled, this one is handling, test 1 is handling. Now main method, no issues at all. Understood? Here individually I'm going in the test 2. In the test 1, test 2 call is there. For that straight away I'm going for catch with the exception. Not individual catch blocks, but one catch block with exception itself. No issues at all. Yeah, fine. I'll be throwing the exception individually. Throws all three, throws all three, throws all three. Nobody is going to handle. Okay. Try is empty. I'm developing the catch block. What type of catch block? Arithmetic exception handling catch block. Now compilation success or not? M30. Compilation success. Even if you are keeping this statement, what is this? Is no way related to any exception. Simply what it is, simply printing 1000. That's it. Okay. This statement doesn't require any try catch. It's fine, no issues at all. But here, observe carefully. Try is empty. Now catch. What kind of exception it is handling? Class sample exception. It is the kind of exception that is checked type of exception. It is going to check at the compile term itself. Right or wrong? Now, in the try block, do I have any statement which is causing the class not found exception? No. Right? Then what is the use of keeping the catch block with class not found exception? Right? Answer here, N14. Exception. class not found exception is never thrown in the body of corresponding try. In case of unchecked type of exception, in case of unchecked type of exception causing statements, if you are developing catch block by using unchecked type of exception, try can be empty, try can be anything. But if you are developing catch block with a checked type of exception, try cannot be empty. There must be compulsory corresponding exception causing statement must be there. Understood? See, three class not forming, sorry, three class dot forming statements. Now, for all these three, one catch block is sufficient. Right or wrong? In the first line itself, raising the exception, class not forming. It is handy. In the second line, if it is raising the class, it is handy. In the third line, no issues at all. But minimum one class not found exception causing statement must be there in the try. Maximum any number, no issues at all. Minimum one, minimum one. Here what happens? Hmm? Interrupted exception we are handling, not handling. Interrupted exception we are not handling. Two kinds of exceptions. One is class dot forming, that is class not found exception we are handling. But interrupted exception, that is thread dot is thing, we are not handling. Collection error.
Suppose if there is one more class not for exception and try block, will the same be handled with exception as well?
What?
If one more class not found exception is there in try block,
Right block, okay. Fine.
the same exception, the catch block is only one exception handling it. The same will be for both.
No issues at all. Here only causing the exception. Comes here, it will check here. Now it is not. That means what? We don't have the cache block. So I'll develop that cache block. What is that? Interrupted exception. What is handling? Okay, fine. What about this? We have a calculator now. Now, which one requires compulsory one statement in the try block?
Inductive exception. Actually, we don't have any papers to write this. Only with the internet.
So it's an error, sir. Sir?
Yeah.
Hello.
So only the second try will be right. Actually, we have a driving college. Driving in college, placements are not coming. I talked with him, so he said to always know on my day.
At line number?
14.
Either at line number what? 12.
Sir, 11.
7, huh?
Yes, sir. Second try.
Why? Because we are developing the catch, but there is no use. Why? Because there is no statement which is causing the checked type of exception in the try block. Sir, very important. What is going on in this case? Do we get compilation error? Compilation error. Well, get exception and throwable. Exception and throwable. Exception and throwable. Check carefully. I will compile this. Which is at all right. In case of try catch, exception and throwable are acting as unchecked. 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 In case of try catch, exception and throwable are acting as unchecked. But in case of method, is acting as checked. In case of method, that is acting as checked. So that is why exception and throwable, they are calling it as what we are calling semi-checked. Okay, semi-checked. Throwable is the class. Throwable is the class. That is the class. Now, exception error will be extending that throwable. Right or wrong? Observe here. Where did I save it? Resources. Throwable is at the root. Now on top of it we have the iterable. Okay, that also I'll show. Exception hierarchy in Java. So okay, as of now, observe this is the throwable class. Now throwable is extending what object? Now exception and error are extending what? Throwable. So exception and throwable are acting as semi-checked. Semi-checked. That means what? In case of try catch, they are acting as unchecked. But in case of method, they are acting as checked. see here. Class not found exception. Okay. Here, method can be empty. Method can be empty. But here we should keep what throws compulsory. I will show you. We'll comment it out everything. What happens in this case? Error. Why error? Why error? Error. Oh, it's error. Now what I will do? Throws arithmetic exception. Now what happens? No issues at all. What is this? Unchecked data. Check data. Compiler is not going to bother about this. No issues at all. Okay, fine. This class happens. This is the kind of exception of type what? Compiler
Sir,
is-
checker type.
Yeah, yes. So here method can be empty, but because of test one is throwing the class not found exception, wherever calling is there, test one, this one should be within the try catch or we should keep the throws. Otherwise, error. Now I'm keeping this also throws. Okay. What I'm trying to do here. Let's get rid of this. Also here also. What I'll do here, throws what? Exception. In case of try catch, it is acting as what? Unchecked. But in case of method, M90. It is acting as what? Check. Okay, fine. Here. Oh, okay. Fine. Okay. Whether throwable is a superclass exception. Throwable is a superclass. Sir. Here I should go for. Here going for exception. That is fine. That is fine. But in case of dry catch, how it is going to act? Unchecked, right? Unchecked. Dry can be empty. Dry can be empty. No issues at all. Okay, line number 6. Here what I'm trying to do. Okay, fine. What happens in this case? I'm trying to create an object for A. Now, when creating the object for A, constructor will be called A class constructor. In the A class constructor, no argument constructor, I have the statement which is causing the checked type of exception. Line number 5. At line number 5. Okay, fine. I'll keep it as throws. Throws. That's not. Now what? Well, here is the call as right or main method. Okay, fine. I also throws. But it's fine. Observe. C extends B. C is extending B. Whether this program compiles successfully or not, tell me that M21. Hmm? What happens? Huh? No object creation. Whether syntactically correct or not, that is what I want. Okay. Creating object or not, that is different. No issues, sir. Akka. Akka, no issues. Are you practicing constructor? Have you practiced constructor? Akka, na? If C is extending D, if I have the constructor in the C, constructor first statement will be what? Constructor first statement will be what? Super with no argument. That is called in the super class constructor. B class. B class is what? Throws interpreted exception. Here calling statement is there or not? Super is a calling statement. Super with no argument is the calling statement. Now that calling statement must be kept inside a try catch, or that constructor C should be declared as close. Or that the super statement is there, right? That should be within the try catch. Now take the compilation in 21. Undefined exception, interpret exception must be caught automatically at line number 12. See, at line number 12. Why I'm getting at line number 12 in the sense compiler will be adding what? Like this. Okay, fine. I'll keep this within the try catch. Okay, I'll keep this in the try catch. But now this fine. Okay, now. Huh? Fine now. There should be something in catch block. Oh, like that, huh? Okay, fine.
So throwable, sir.
Throwable, huh? Here, can I go for what? I'll go for interpret exception or throwable. Anything is fine. Okay. I'll go for what? Interpret exception again. How it is possible? Not here. What is that? What's that? If I'm keeping the super explicitly, super or this statement must be the first statement in the constructor body. First I'm keeping what? Try. Then I'm keeping super. Not quite simple. It should be first statement. That is why. Here, in this case, you cannot go for try catch. Okay. and go for try catch only throws. Okay. Understood? Understood or not? The same program. So take it as an assignment. Which one is that? M22. Now we'll come to throw keyword. Throw. Interviewer will ask, what is the difference between throwable, throws? What is the usage of throw? By using throw keyword, we can able to throw the exception explicitly. User can able to raise the exception object explicitly. We are only raising the exception object and terminating the normal flow. By using throw keyword, we can able to explicitly throw the exception object or error object. Exception or error object. That must be of throwable type. Okay, whatever we are raising the exception or error object, that must be under throwable. Now, if you are using the throw keyword, that should be the last statement in the current block. Last statement. It is like a return. Okay. We can able to raise the exception object explicitly and we can able to terminate the flow for some reason. Okay, for some reason. We are only raising the exception object using throw keyword. Now, along with the exception, you should get some message. Okay. Then you can supply this string while you are raising the exception. Supply the string. it is going to call the constructor which is taking string as the argument in the arithmetic exception class. Fine. Take the message we are getting. Now observe here, nobody's age will be less than 0 or equal to 0. Okay, nobody's age will be less than 0 or equal to 0. Here what I'm trying to do, I'm getting the input from the user. I'm reading in the form of int, then storing inside the int age. Then if age less than or equal to 0, if he is entering 0 or any negative value, what happens? Throw arithmetic exception. Age should be greater than 0. It is something similar to we have only raising the exception object for some reason. What reason? Age is not less than or equal to 0. Now we are only raising the exception object to terminate the flow, right? Enter the age, okay, 0. It should be greater than 0. Minus 1. Okay, fine. Something like this. 1 and 2, both are good. Now, how to develop our own exception class? How to develop our own exception class? Here, I'm developing age is negative exception. Age is negative exception. So, in the current folder, I'm developing one file called age is negative exception. That must be extending through. Why? Because that is, it comes under what? Exception hierarchy, right? That is why it must extend the throwable. Now here one constructor is the public constructor. Age is negative exception. String as the argument. Now it is calling what? Super class constructor. Passing the message. Super class constructor is what? Throwable. Okay. Now observe. If age is less than 0, not equal to, less than 0, negative, no, age is negative for that particular condition. Age is negative. If I enter negative value, now what happens? What happens? Throw new age negative exception. This class is I'm invoking, I'm creating an object to this class, right or not? Throw what I'm doing, creating the object. Age is negative exception by passing string value. Now in the age is negative exception, we have one constructor which is taking string as the argument. This one will be called. Now what I'm doing, whatever the message I passed, I'm passing that message. I'm calling the super class constructor, which is the super class constructor throwable. Now from throwable, we get the message. Info. -2. Exception in thread name. Age is negative exception. Some reason. We are developing your customized exception classes that should be extending throughout. You want some message? No. Develop a constructor, call the superclass constructor by supplying the message. This is how we can able to create the.
So why is that system that out dot println 2 is there, sir? Line number 14.
Uh-huh. Here, if assume that I'll enter 1 or 2. 1 less than 0, 2 less than 0? No. This if block won't be executed. That means we are not raising this age is not able to execute. Straight away it is going to execute this 2. That means there is no exception. Right? There is no negative value. That means
Yes, sir.
So this completes what? Exception handling. Tomorrow, can I include this in the test? Huh? This exception handling also. What? Some will be MCQ and some will be 1 or 2 sentence answer or listing out something. In IMS, we start.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Yeah. Arshita. Arshita. Chaitra.
Present, sir.
Sandeep. Basuraj P. Madesha.
Present, sir.
Kiran. Syed Afsar Pasha. Channappa. Spurti. Kirtana. Nishita Prakash. Mohammad Sufyan Beg. Chandan,
Yes, sir.
Nandish Babu,
Present, sir.
Ram Kumar,
Present, sir.
Rashid Kumar,
Present, sir.
Anil Kumar,
Present, sir.
Arshit Garg, Vaishnavi Ekde, Preetam BR, Gagandeep,
Present, sir.
Salma, Salma Taj,
Present, sir.
Tarun Singh, Tarun Singh, Abhishek Singh,
Yes, sir.
Gagan Gosavi, Ahmad Omar Kasim, Deepthi SH, Shruti R, Chandanayam, Yamunayam, Harish D, Chaitanyam, Shalini, Kamala,
Present, sir.
Yashaswini NR,
Present, sir.
Samay Zuma, Samay Zuma, Shreya S, Darshan S, Darshan S, so guys, please do remember tomorrow you will be having the test at 11 a.m. You should be present here at 10:45. Okay, and please do one thing. Bring one blue book. Okay, that is the best to write the test. Blue book. In store you will get. Okay, like it is like 10 rupees or 20 rupees. Blue book you will get to write the test. We'll be keeping that record. Okay, because if you write in paper and you throw somewhere, right? So get one book. Keep the one book for test. So tomorrow at 11 a.m. And can I include this exception handling also online people? Can I do it?
No, sir.
Can I do it or not? Exception handling.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, fine. I don't include exception handling as of now. In the next week, I'll be including that exception handling. Before exception handling, whatever I have covered, please prepare on that. Tomorrow, you'll be having test on that. Okay.
For how many marks, sir?
I don't know, like maybe 50 or something like that. I'm not sure. 50 maybe. Any questions?
Sir, it will be like error debugging or we should write the whole program, something like that.
No, actually, it will be in the multiple choice, objective type. Is like program will be there. You need to write the output, or you need to choose the output. Okay, whether you need to write the output or you need to choose the output, or one or two sentences of answers, or listing out some points. Means what are the types, some kind of like that. Yeah, it will be simple only. You don't need to write the entire code. In advance, you should write, not now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Take care. All the best. Have a good day.
Nandish.